At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a man named Amir sipping tea in a public place in Afghanistan. After finishing his drink, he pays and heads home, scanning his surroundings. Entering his house, he goes to the backyard where he keeps dogs. There, he tells his men to open the cages. We then discover several American soldiers held captive inside, including a woman named Sheik. Amir announces, once a month, they will kill an American soldier with stones, and today another soldier will die. He pulls Sheik to the middle of the road where everyone, including the other American soldiers, stands by. He starts handing stones to everyone. First, he gives a stone to an American soldier and orders her to throw it at her, but he refuses. In retaliation, Amir shoots a civilian. The soldier now has no choice but to throw the stone at Sheik. Everyone else starts throwing stones at her. Out of nowhere, 2 helicopters appear, coming to save them. They fire indiscriminately at everyone, and American soldiers descend. They quickly pick up Sheik and take her to the helicopter, while the rest begin killing Amir's men. Amir runs to grab an RPG nearby and fires at one of their helicopters still in the sky, which explodes completely. With only one helicopter left, they load their companions and make a swift escape. They didn't have time to take the remaining prisoners. As soon as they are airborne, Amir attacks and kills the rest of the prisoners as Sheik watches in horror. In the next scene, we see that Sheik has fully recovered. Her seniors tell her she can still take leave and doesn't need to return to work, but she refuses. Sheik, after being rescued from Afghanistan, hasn't gone home yet. She received treatment and has been undergoing rigorous daily training to make herself stronger. We are then taken back to Afghanistan to an all-girls school. A group of friends is chatting. Among them is the daughter of Afghanistan's education minister, called Badia. As they talk, they hear gunshots. They look out the window to see many trucks entering the school compounds with terrorists shooting indiscriminately. Chaos erupts everywhere. The terrorists are taking all the girls prisoner. Badia tells her friends to go to the roof instead of descending like everyone else, so they go to the roof and hide. The leader of this terrorist group is no one but Amir. He searches for Badia everywhere and then asks the teacher. The teacher lied that Badia didn't come to school that day. Amir realizes the teacher is lying, shoots her in the head, and orders his men to find Badia. Badia sees this and knows they will soon come to the roof, so it's best to seek a new hideout. They all run downstairs, but Badia collides with one of the terrorists, and his gun slides as he falls. Badia picks up the gun and shoots at him when he tries to attack. She continues to shoot other terrorists that come closer until it reaches Amir himself. Badia pulls the trigger, but there are no bullets. She runs back to the roof where the other girls are, and Amir follows her there. She tries to fight him, but she is overpowered. The terrorists pick 2 of Badia's friends and throw them down from the building. He then takes the rest of the girls to a hidden location. Amir records a message demanding $10 million from each family for their daughter's release. In America, Travis shows Sheik Amir's video and narrates to her what has happened in Afghanistan concerning the girls. This triggers Sheik and tells Travis that she is ready for this new rescue mission she turned down earlier. The next scene takes us to Pakistan as Sheik lands at the airport. She meets a cab driver named Abbas, who is to take her to a hotel. His driving is so reckless that it stuns Sheik. Upon entering the hotel, she meets a girl who works for Travis. This girl takes her upstairs to meet the rest of the team, whose reception of her was not the best. After the meeting, she leaves to meet Travis. Travis reveals that they will enter Afghanistan as medics, so no one suspects us. Amid conversation, Badia's mother arrives and tells Sheik to do everything to bring her daughter back. But before leaving, she goes to a cyber cafe and calls her friend in Afghanistan. Awina was with the Taliban, and Sheik saved her life. Awina agrees to give all the information she has about Amir. The next morning, they prepare to leave. Sheik sees that Abbas will be driving the truck she will be in. Looking at how reckless he was with his driving in their last encounter, she refused to sit in his truck. She chooses to sit in the other truck, which was to be driven by Abbas's younger brother, Malik. They then set off on the journey. When they reach the Afghan border, they are approached by the Afghan police, and they start searching their items. Abbas tries to explain to them that the trucks only contain medicines, but they don't believe him. One by one, they start picking up the cartons and throwing them down. Fortunately for them, their chief arrived and ordered the men to allow them to pass through. He gives them a number and tells them to call whenever they need help. They are now able to enter Afghanistan successfully. Meanwhile, we see Amir in his hideout. He calls one of the kidnapped girls into his office. He tasked her to take a letter to the police station, and in return, she would be set free. This girl agrees to do as he says. On the other hand, Sheik and her team have reached Afghanistan. They first go to the medical camp and leave the medicine there. Sheik then disguises herself as an Arab girl and visits Awina. Amir and the girl go to the police station. He parks his car in front of the building and tells the girl to go inside with the letter. She goes in there and is met by 2 officers. She gives the envelope to them, and as they read what's on it, The car in front of the building detonates, killing everyone inside. Jake rejoins the team with new intel from Awina, showing the location of Amir's group. They will attack, but they need weapons to do that, so make plans to attack the Taliban's base. As night comes, they reach the location and wait for everyone. First, they set off a blast at a location nearby to distract everyone, and it worked. After that, they take down a few of the soldiers on watch. They get their hand on the weapons they came for, but there is a problem. More of the Talibans are coming. They are able to take them down with an RPG. While trying to escape, one of their men is shot and falls off the car. Jake forces Malik to go back so that they can retrieve him. In doing so, Travis is shot too. They successfully retrieve both of them, but unfortunately, they are all dead. The next morning, Jake goes to the man who helped them at the border. She asks for a place to bury their dead, and their request is granted. Hours later, Jake overheard a conversation taking place in the central room. To her surprise, she found the Minister of Education discussing urgent matters with some of her team members. She had traveled to Afghanistan solely to deliver a $10 million ransom for Badia's release. However, upon inspection, it became clear that the money was counterfeit. The minister explains that it will take time for Amir and his group to know it's fake, and that will buy time for them. Meanwhile, Badia was summoned to Amir's quarters, where he declared her the bravest woman he had ever encountered. He then made a shocking proposal. He wanted to marry her. He warned her that if she refused, he would not hesitate to execute all her friends. The scene shifted back to Jake and her team, who were gripped by panic as an unfamiliar vehicle approached. To their relief, it turned out to be Awina, whom Jake had asked to come. Inside the house, Awina informed them that Amir's group was demanding a religious leader known as the Sheik, currently held by another terrorist faction. If they could secure the Sheik's release, Amir would fulfill their request. The team agreed to rescue the Sheik from his captors. Later that afternoon, they spotted the Sheik being transported in a security vehicle. Simultaneously, two of Jake's team members were monitoring the situation with a drone. Upon pinpointing the Sheik's location, they swiftly moved to intercept him. As they reached the optimal position for their attack, Alice, one of the members, noticed a bus with civilians approaching from the opposite direction. To prevent the bus from getting caught in the middle of the shootout, Alice deliberately crashes her bike into the bus. However, her foot gets stuck in the bus. Jake and her team sprang into action, swiftly opening the vehicle and extracting the Sheik. Unfortunately, enemy cars descended upon them just as they were about to escape. Jake and another member attempted to free Alice, whose leg was still trapped under the bus, but they couldn't. Alice then urged Jake to flee rather than risk capture for everyone. In the midst of the turmoil, Abbas was shot, but they managed to flee with the Sheik. Later, the team gathered around a television as news broke that Alice had been captured. They witnessed her execution live on air. Consumed by rage and grief, Jake stormed into the next room to confront the Sheik. To her shock, she found Awina on the phone. She had betrayed them by exposing their location to Amir and his men. Realizing that Amir's men would arrive soon, Jake instructed her team to place the bag of money in plain sight and allow Amir's group to take both Awina and the Sheik when they arrived. Jake instructed her team to track her mobile phone, which she hid in the bag containing the money. This would allow them to pinpoint the location of Amir's headquarters. Hours later, Amir's group arrived at their underground base, escorting the Sheik to a room where they instructed him to prepare himself. It became clear that Amir intended to propose a marriage between himself and Badia. Meanwhile, outside the underground base, Jake and her team were poised for action. They stealthily approached the compound and successfully neutralized one of Amir's guards. They discovered a hidden passage leading underground, prompting them to enter cautiously. Once inside, Jake and her team adopted undercover tactics to locate the hostages and familiarize themselves with the layout of the facility. She quickly regrouped with her team to share vital information about their findings within Amir's stronghold. Despite their progress, they had yet to uncover Badia's location. Jake ordered her team to plant bombs in every corner as she continued her search for Badia's location. At the same time, she provided the reinforcements with coordinates so they could arrive within the hour. Meanwhile, Badia was preparing to marry Amir. The Sheik officiating the wedding was instructed by Amir as to what to say. Disturbed by the order, the Sheik protested. Despite his objections, he proceeded to marry the couple according to Amir's demands. Immediately afterward, Amir murdered the Sheik. Elsewhere, Jake and her operatives continued planting bombs. Soon, Amir's right-hand man arrived with alarming news. The money they had received was counterfeit, and the bag contained a GPS-tracked phone. Enraged, Amir accused Awina of betrayal, convinced she had orchestrated the setup. He then takes his gun and shoots her in the head. He orders his men to gather all the women in the tunnel and check their faces for Americans. They line up all the women and start lifting their burqas. They find one of Jake's companions among them. But before they can do anything to her, she presses a button, and bombs explode everywhere. Jake rescued all the hostages and reunited with Badia. She instructed Badia and the others to escape via the lift, while she set off to confront Amir. Their encounter erupted into a fierce duel, a battle of wills and skill. Eventually, Jake defeats him by slicing his throat. Just as Jake and her team prepared to leave, a chilling realization struck her. One of her members lay trapped and dying beneath a pile of rubble. Despite her frantic attempts to save her, the injured member urged Jake to flee before the impending explosion engulfed them all. With heavy hearts, Jake and her team were compelled to evacuate with the hostages they had bravely rescued. Moments later, rescue forces arrived in a helicopter to take all the rescued girls to a safe location. Jake urged Malik to board the helicopter, but he insisted when he found out Jake would not be on it. Jake explained that she could not abandon the member they had left behind. In a show of solidarity, Malik chose to stay with her. Before re-entering Amir's stronghold, Malik stops her and brings out a CD. He says they'll listen to music on the way, and that is when the movie ends.